Hello. So trying to do daily lives. It's a different time than I have been doing. I've been doing earlier in the day, but I was driving all day. I'm back in New Mexico with the fabulous Zephyr, who's looking super cute today. Like, oh my god, always raises the bar when I haven't had a shower in 2 days. I'm probably gonna take her live on Facebook later. Don't tell her. These cards just fell out, so I'm gonna run with it. Hey Kira, how's that Saturn return treating you? My exact date that it was crossing my degrees of when I was born, I met this incredibly beautiful person, and it just like, I smoked weed, which is like not my best frequency level, you can say. It's like when I smoke, I have amnesia every like 90 seconds or so. My brain is wiped. And so then I'm also like really insecure, and then I'm also super tapped in. It's like I can feel all the thoughts, but in that paranoia, like this it narcissistically like brings the energy back to where everything's about me, and so then the insecurity just sort of expands upon itself, and then I'm also clueless as to what is actually going on. So it was a really interesting type of stress. Like, I've been dealing this whole time with the type of stress that is very visceral and survivalist, and then to be in a stress of just like, how do we approach, seeing someone we would perceive to not, like us, or have, whatever. It was very social, and it was very, very weird. Did not enjoy that. But if you'd like a card, Kira, or if you have a question, feel free to post that. I'll wave at ya. Hey. And if you'd like to just get the energy, I have been getting this full moon ever since I did last year. In the beginning of this year, it was like this full year of following moon cycles. And I'm a Cancer moon, and I found that like I was always at the full moon and the new moon, like always more calm and tapped in, whereas everyone else is like, what's going on, and I'm like, oh, it's a full moon. It's all right, it's just a new moon. I feel like new moons actually make people crazier. I don't know, it's just something about that destructive energy, maybe, who knows. Which it's funny, because a full moon is really the destruction that we are supposed to sort of take upon our own intention. Like, the full moon is when you're like, all right, I have all this, but to get where I want to go, I must, cut my energy here, there, and we're doing this in Scorpio, right? Which is all about that grief, all about that death energy, but also like very passionate and very, knowing what is wanted. I feel full moons, I feel like I'm all cuddly and warm, but the world around me wants to go nuts. I can kind of relate, but it's like mainly because the energy leading up to it, I start to get, I guess, the downloads, but to me they don't feel like downloads, they feel like crises that I face that are like helping me integrate the energy, because I guess I'm very stubborn, who knows. So this one has been a lot about grief, but also being renewed in that grief, in that passion. I don't know how much I've talked about this in my other live streams, but just like this being born in every moment. I feel like I keep telling people, but that's why I'm like doing these live streams, so I can tell more people, I guess, my perspective and how I see this shit. But it feels very like, we have these tropes, we have this muscle memory, we have the network as it's been going, and that is the past, and even what we see before us as a moment, it will never exist like that again. it is dying, in our recognition of it as a thing, right? Like energy is free flowing. Anything that sustains itself, although all systems eventually collapse, the systems that last the longest are the ones that are able to rejuvenate with fresh energy, keep it flowing, and adapt and change to being other things than what, we deem them to be. It's like so hard to even talk about this because there's just so many like angles and like ways of like understanding it. There's a scientist now that is talking about how the thing that makes reality an illusion is actually our senses of reality. Because, and I don't know, the specifics of his understanding of it, but it's a lot of, for me, when we name something, we as a word, or we identify with something, say a face, a symbol, in that moment, the deterioration of that thing must begin, because it is born new in our recognition of it, but the energy must, circulate. And if we're holding it there, then it has to deteriorate before our eyes so that energy can find its way back around. And so that's sort of the key to us uncovering, I guess, the truth of reality in the Matrix is a disidentification of things as what they seem to be to us, because in our knowing it as that, it immediately becomes not what it really is, because all energy is that existence of the potential. It's kind of like Plato, was all about the forms and the experiencing of the forms, these non-physical abstractions, if you will. And so in that story, I don't even know all the details, so forgive me if I'm wrecking it, but, as the spoken word came about to be able to use that to influence others, the pathos, to persuade, Plato was almost like, against using word to transmit experience, because it wasn't the experience. To use a word is to, replicate, commodify, it's not the experience. You can't transmit it through those symbols, and yet here we live in a world of those symbols. We exist as those symbols. And so in the knowing of ourselves, it's to know ourselves as forever changing. And so what we see and identify must die in every moment that we are seeing it, for us to truly be reborn, or just to exist in the culmination of who we have become. So if that makes any sense at all, I am so grateful, because I don't know that it does. It's so crazy, like literally as soon as you become aware of a moment, that moment is gone and you're in a new one. Exactly. I once heard someone say, when you name something, you take away its potential to be anything else. Exactly that. You doom it. It's like the creation of anything, like a womb is a tomb in a sense, because to create something is to sentence its death. I know that's a little heavy, but it's also kind of beautiful if you think of our true nature and the true nature of a creation that is truly, autonomous, such as another person. To live eternally is to die eternally. And, to live any amount of time is to constantly die, or else we get trapped in these cycles. And so leading up to this moon, I wasn't even thinking about like freaking Scorpio moon. I was just thinking about, the storyline that's in front of me. And, as we approached the verdict, that big moment, trying to understand how to get a new reflection of reality. It's like, if we know that one moment exists, all moments must exist for any of it to, that sort of God particle electron that bounces through everything in time and space. It had to be everything in order to exist at all. So it's all happening. And so who are we to judge, the experience of others or the beings that have chosen to incarnate on this certain timeline with us in the ways that they are processing their grief, and the ways that, if we are truly here for a reason in this moment, on this timeline, this series of events behind us and in front of us, what is that reason, and how do we truly honor ourselves enough to be the reflection that we want to see and change that. Hey, I am so happy you're here. I am Bardot. I love that name so much. We've just been rambling about philosophical nonsense, and if you would like a question or like a card or have a question, feel free to speak up and let me know, and I'll pull cards for you. These fell out as I was as I just started. We have the Tower in reverse, and this is again the Enchanted Tarot by Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. Each picture is like a tapestry that has been sewn. They're 4 feet big, 4 feet tall, or something like that. I never see this deck out, and I wish that more people would use it, because I just think it's so valuable. The Queen of Hearts. Its only detriment is it is very heteronormative and mostly white people. Message for the Capricorn. I would love to. And I'm doing really well. I'm in New Mexico now, Albuquerque, and I love this Southwest. I mean, it just gets so beautiful, but I'm coming from San Diego, and it's interesting because this New Mexico energy, each time coming into New Mexico has been incredibly dense, and I always have a densifying experience to get in, this sort of collective. But just first off, with the Tower, the Five of Swords, both in reverse, and then we have the Chariot and the Queen of Hearts. So we have this need that we want to help, that we want to create what's best for others. But how can we truly say what's best for others? We can only go for what is best for ourselves, and that can only be found through truly honoring, who we are, who we have become, and, trying to change a timeline. It can take someone else's autonomy. It's truly honoring other people's experience by letting them play out what is being experienced, but understanding our capability to access something different if that is what's best for us. But that even kind of requires an internal sort of faith, knowing that what we are experiencing, we are meant to be seeing and meaning to witness. Troy Bolton. Becky is here. Zephyr. And
hi.
I didn't want to force her in the live, but she pulled some really good cards for the collection. And my dog is barking at the doors. Isabel.
Freaking out.
Izzy.
Hey.
I want you to know she's here holding space as well. She is a mythical being beyond my understanding. And Izzy, come here. And I can never truly fully grasp the extent of her freaking conscious awareness. So, let me pull for Capricorn. And I'm also feeling the dice, if I could find that. Capricorn seems like they would appreciate some numbers. Lord knows I do. Uh-oh. So we have 11, Capricorn. It's integrity. How are we supporting these, broader structures? How are we supporting ourselves?
It's a collective number for the collective too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Connection.
For sure. I mean, that's really what's at the reckoning here. I feel like Pluto might be in Capricorn right now, or if it's not, it will be soon, or sometime this year. there is this, calling to question. That's what this verdict, sort of situation was a lot about in my experience was, we have this public, execution that we fully expected, the guy to get away with it. I mean, regardless of whether or not he did, I mean, like, it would not have surprised anyone, and lots of them do. And how are we to find, a source of, power in our collectivism, or, just in ourselves, knowing that, like, we exist complicitly, just like in, the just average everyday Germans in Nazi Germany. It's like, it's very difficult to reconcile that integrity. And we see that and in a lot of levels, on social media, in our day-to-day conversations, and it's an individual journey that we're all sort of on. And I think honoring each person's sort of experience of that is very important for our processing of changing our own reflection and finding power, knowing that people are doing the things that they're doing out of what they got to do, and there are other versions of them making other choices and other realities. Why is this the one that we see? And how do we react to that?
And they're all valid.
They're all valid. And that's like the hard pill to swallow. I mean, that's what the spring equinox really felt like for me. Not as like the timeline, but just the idea of, say, humans, like, why would you choose to be here? I feel like that was brought up in a podcast or something, like someone's DMT experience, like they just end up in this aliens, living room, and the aliens like, oh, you're human, like, why would you do that? And it feels like that is almost like the curse of becoming, like, why we would see Earth as a prison planet, because it would almost seem like in our inability to honor any chosen experience as the divinity that is everything, and our inability to truly see that and know that, it pulls us in because it must be known. It must be. And that could be, why some of us are here or whatever. But that was just my experience. I think this is it. So we have the King of Wands in reverse. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse. I pull all cards in reverse. It's kind of my whole hangman initiation. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So there's this. The King of Pentacles doesn't change for the world. He changes the world to suit him. The Ace of Pentacles is truly the reward. It's the gold, that currency is based off of. It's the reason. It's the passion, and truly knowing our passions and that sort of sun energy, because the King of Wands, it's not about hiding anywhere or hiding any parts. It's about truly uplifting, all those things. And in the abundance, we search and search and search to know abundance. And in knowing the greatness of abundance, we will know also the curse of it. And in that curse of abundance, it's that everything exists. It must exist for us to experience any of it. How do we reconcile that is beyond me, or else I wouldn't be here on this timeline. But that's what I think. That's that integrity piece of the Capricorn reading. You would like a card? I just don't have enough brain energy to think of a question. That's totally fine. I see questions as the ego's chew toy, where the cards are going to say what they want to say. And I would love to do a number for you as well, Kira. It's 10:27, so the nature of the time. We've got 7, which is this mastery, but it's a very self-involved mastery. And then the 2 is sort of a relationship, a deal. What do we do to get mastery? Because with 10:27 here, maybe not where you're at, but the 10 is stepping into your divinity, like knowing who you are by knowing everything that you're not, and truly honoring that bothness, because you are kind of the one, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, that all adds up to a 10. So finding divinity through this self-mastery, but really bringing into harmony, because that 7 plus the 2 is the 9, and 9 is that. 9 is a very similar mastery energy as a 7, but it's more selfless because it's complete. So how are we ultimately serving others through, it feels like service. I'm getting goosebumps on that.
It's a human number too, 9 is.
9 is a human number.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything was based on like the 8.
Maybe. 8 is infinity, 9 is human, and then 10 is God. Like, which is...
Humanity. I love that. I picked up the dice because it was going to roll off. And 10. Look at that. So truly stepping into your divine identity. And that means disidentifying in a lot of ways. We look for, maybe a galactic heritage or a fake connection or a whatever in order to help us sort of understand that non-physical aspect of ourselves. But it's truly knowing the importance of being incarnate and like all of that support that you may find in that imaginal essence that is truly you, and honoring that is to truly honor yourself physically incarnated and the decisions that you make here, knowing that you're here. Your guides are not. Your guides are you're just as important. You're the most valuable because you're the only one that exists in a paradigm of value, and, it's beyond value. The 1 and the 0. So, and I'll pull a card for you, Kira. Three of Swords. So, it looks kind of sad. She's in this cave from heartbreak, bare-breasted, and her authenticity and her vulnerability, feeling completely, she's there to heal. It's a very healing sort of energy and reclusive. Very opposite to that Capricorn sun, coming out the world changes for me. This is like me going inwards to truly know who I am because I got lost in the game. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles, who is just like all about the freaking game. She makes the game her, and then the Ace of Wands in reverse. So, which is initiation. It is, it feels like there might be a lack of passion in this Queen of Pentacles. Like she allows herself to take care of all the little details. That is just, you're allowed to be comfortable. You're allowed to have the things that you want. Those symbols, identifying with something as an artifact of our joy is totally okay as long as we know that our joy will surpass that. And it may not be that thing. So how do we allow ourselves to find that deeper passion, going in on that 3 of Swords and finding what are some symbols that you can use to help you know what it is that's driving you, so that you can drive instead of being driven. Knowing that those symbols that you choose may not last, they may not be the things that bring you to that place, but you can find that place using those symbols, and that's what they are, our tools. Vessels, right? That's what we are. Like someone's trying to
has a song suggestion. Listen to Incubus Drive.
I love that fucking song.
And it just
I named my card
listen to it.
Brandon Boyd after that song Drive.
This is for that person.
It's for Kira.
Yes.
So Voxel is
my alien
is
passenger or whatever.
Zephyr's alien and suggest listening to Incubus Drive. And I gotta tell you, when I first got my car, because I hadn't had a car for 3 years, I cried every single day listening to that song. So,
and
oh my God.
The acoustic version, particularly, he says.
Really?
So.
The acoustic version. Well, Kira makes music. So maybe that's a song that needs to be sang, and I would love to do background vocals for you.
We could just mule it. Shoot.
The 3 of Swords is so fitting, right? I just, she's vulnerable. I love it. I love that. Because in our vulnerability, we find invulnerability.
The strength.
So if you need any clarification, let me know. Anyone else like a card? I am so blessed to have people present and, enjoying this with me. Trying to keep these
to
between 30 and...
It's a present to have people present.
Yes, it is a present. Your presence is the greatest presence. The cards that you pulled for today, what were they?
They were the Magus.
Phoenix Alchemy.
And the Hanged Man. And the Witness. And I was using the Conjunction Tarot, that Ina Odereth. So it's all trumps so far.
So
and
gotcha.
Yeah, and it's the 13th card is the Witness, which is death.
Yes. And I thought that was so poignant for this moon. It
totally is, right?
The Witness is the death card, because in our witnessing, that is that grieving.
Yeah, it's the false death.
If we can allow ourselves to fully, honor what it is that we witness, we may be reborn in that moment. It's the death of the
self into the collective.
Oh.
Awareness.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect for the Scorpio full moon.
Perfect.
So I got one for you. I think it's Christy. Phoenix Alchemy. 10 of Swords in reverse, which Hanged Man energy. I pull everything in reverse. I don't know how this happens. 10 of Swords. So that is saying help is necessary. Like, you cannot do this without help. We think that it's our job. We've been trained our whole lives to do things on our own, but there's just certain we have to, and that's what we're learning, in this sort of advancement of consciousness, is that we have to work together, and you can be, interdependent on others without being, parasitic to them. And that is something that I'm having to do every day. Ask for help. Learn to receive. 4 of Swords is this meditation. And then the King of Pentacles is this, everything he touched turns to gold. And I think that goes back to that, that witnessing and our truly valuing something for what it is, knowing that it must change, in either direction, into detriment, into, I use this for beauty magic. It's looking at yourself, knowing that this is what I am right now. I'm always changing. It doesn't have to be, decomposing. It can be, in a direction of being new in every moment. But the change is what is inevitable. And my honoring that, I feel is what allows true value for things.
And magic is real, so we can turn back time on our appearance and our bodies.
And see, and I feel that's what causes the decomposition, is trying to go comparing ourselves with who we were.
Yeah, just make yourself into something new and beautiful.
Exactly,
yeah.
We're constantly new, and that is the thing that is unchanging, is the fact that everything changes.
The only thing that is certain is uncertainty. So.
Exactly. So let me throw some numbers for you, Christine. I'm so glad you're here again. I love having a repeat caller. It's great. And I got 2. So 2 relationships, exchanges, and I think the most important thing about exchanges to understand is how we're sort of moving out of this, I give you this and you give me that. But in our two-ness, if 2 are fully present, when we both bring who we fully are together, the energy is just exponential. From that, asking for help sort of stance, knowing that you being seen by someone who can truly see you is healing for you. And when healing, it's not... Because when I reawakened, I kind of forgot how I used to heal people. And because it was do I direct the bad energy out into the earth and then the new energy in from the heavens or whatever? It was am I moving it? Am I trying to, shake it around. It's when you're in that space of bearing witness, of truly seeing, you are that conduit for healing. The healing is an inevitability. The healing is the natural way. The healing is that raw potential energy. So in that bearing witness, you become the conduit for that, and you inspire others to come into that space as well. And it has to be, they have to let it in. They have to go with you. But in that presence, it's hard for them not to, because the higher vibe always wins out at the upliftment. So if you know someone who can truly see you, be seen and allow yourself to be seen, knowing that whatever is seen is impermanent and has the greater, the momentum is in either direction, is the greater potential energy behind it, pushing it towards that conduit energy. And I think that's why so many of us are born, into very troubling times of great suffering or whatever, because we have so much energy and so much potential for being that conduit. And, it's manipulated in good ways and bad ways and all sorts of things. But I always want people to know that I love giving readings anytime anyone has a question, because I truly do feel the benefit of, just bearing witness to the energy and interpreting the best I can, because I get that energy back immediately. And when we surrender, when we worship, I feel like that is what we're moving work into. Our relationship with work is into this space of truly surrendering all that we have to something that we would, like the earth, or just life, to warm sunlight. Worshiping that, you feel immediately the energy return to you, because it's offered in that unconditional way. And that's that two-ness of exponential energy creation. Is that helpful? I hope so. I know there's a bit of a lag, but please message me if you ever need a clarification or want a card or have a question, because I love doing this truly as a service. And if anyone ever wants to read some shitty poetry or blog posts, numerology, collective updates, psychosomagic.com, you can also read about my the services I offer in a more structured way. I would love to get in touch with you.
And if anybody wants to give you donations, they can always.
Oh yeah, and donations. My most recent post is it lists all my stuff, but that is not necessary. Only give if you feel you have, to in excess.
Always appreciated.
That's how I want the energy to be coming towards me, and let it go towards the intention and the energy behind your question or whatever it is. So the healing. I love you all so much. Thank you so much, Phoenix Academy and Kira, and I am Bardot. I love that.
Bridget Bardot.
Is that Bridget?
Well, there was a Bridget Bardot. I don't know if that's why the name, but that's what I would think of.
Need to get to know this person, because
very, very
I'm so
classy
bad at the. Oh my God, is your fungi?
Oh, I love fungi.
I don't know if you're there, but bye everyone. Thank you.